Hi, 3DMJers. This is Andrea Valdez, and you are listening to the 3D Muscle Journey podcast. I hope you all had a wonderful new year. This is the last episode of one-on-one team interviews featuring myself being interviewed by Eric Helms. Like I said in the previous 4 episodes, as it's now January 2017, we'd like to close out the 2016 chapter with some State of the Coach addresses. Basically, we're asking the same questions to each person to see where they stand through this annual change, and it's something we plan on doing every year. Now, because I have counting problems, I sort of missed the December boat on this one, and this is actually the first episode of 2017, but please see it as a continuation of last year's closing statements. In all these episodes, we talk about what a typical day looks like for each coach, where they stand in their athletic journey, what their diet and training looks like right now, and if there's any major lessons learned in 2016 along the way. Eric also asked me about some of my coaching milestones this year, what other professional endeavors I plan to chase in 2017, and then we'll end on a personal note. So we'll discuss any other resolutions, hobbies, favorite things, and ambitions for the year ahead. So this is the very last week with every coach getting their own time in the spotlight. I hope you guys find these episodes as interesting as we did, in that they display how different all 5 of us are as athletes and humans. We have different routines, we eat differently, we train differently, all while carrying the same core values of discipline, dedication, and desire, which keep us united as our 3DMJ fam. So I hope you guys love these as much as we did. Next week, we will continue with topic-based conversations as usual. So thanks for sticking with us to this 5-episode break from regularly scheduled programming. But here is the 2016 Coaches Spotlight episode featuring me, Andrea Valdez.
So here we are.
We are here.
Role reversal. I am asking the questions and you are answering them.
This is true. That's the intention.
Mm-hmm.
That is the plan.
So first, the question everyone wants to ask is my Skype broken, or is your hair actually that color?
Oh, my hair is actually this color. For those listening, it's peach, blonde, and peach. Actually, what's funny is everyone has asked that, like on Twitter and Snapchat. They're like, "Why'd you do that?" And mind you, like Barb, I know your wife has had like hot pink hair for, I don't know, since I've known her.
Some interesting color, ranging from red to purple to something. The one where you don't ask, is that your natural hair color for a while?
Yeah. No, I got bored. I wanted a haircut, and then I saw this girl get the back of her head shaved, and I was like, dude, I want to do that. So I go in, and I'm sitting there getting the back of my head shaved. I swear it's not as crazy as it sounds. You can't see it. It's called an undercut, girls, if you want to look at that on Pinterest.
Yeah, I saw it. Look cool.
Yeah. And while I was sitting there, I was thinking about how my ombre was growing long. My blonde was starting really low, and I was like, let's just bring that up. And I'm looking at colors and Pinterest while I'm sitting in the chair getting a cut. And I was like, this one's cool, to my hairstylist. And she was like, that is cool. We should do that to your hair. And it was like this color. And I was like, we can't do that. And she goes, I bet we can. And I was like, okay, go. But I think everyone thinks I'm having like an internal crisis of some sort, but I really just...
It's a third life crisis.
Yeah. Yeah. I really just got bored, and Pinterest made me do it.
Do you know how we discussed when Zerdos was there that there are such things as dumb questions for those who watch? He might have mentioned that. One of those dumb questions for the listeners is when someone does something with their clothing or with an earring or with whatever, and you ask, why did you do that? Because the answer is always, because I wanted to.
This is true.
And if you actually want to say, I don't think that looks good, or I wouldn't do that for yourself, you can either choose to say that and just be outward with your dickness, and we won't care. We will know that you are a dick, which is good. Or you can just, not say anything and let people do what they want.
That's true. But it really, I don't think it's like a, holy shit, your head looks terrible, but it's more like, that's interesting. And then I get a lot of, I wish I could pull that off. I'm like, I don't know if I'm pulling it off. It's just this color, and I can't do anything about it. So.
Well, that's those are legitimate comments. But some people feel like, why'd you do that? It's like, I don't know. Why don't you have critical thinking skills? Probably because I wanted to. I didn't fall into a vat of hair dye. Like, what do you think happened? Like, come on. I'm not the Joker. I wasn't pushed in by a bat creature who's trying to fight crime. I mean, come on.
Although that almost happened. That's not what actually did happen. I just because Pinterest and I was there, and then the lady was there, and we just did it.
Word.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Speaking of doing things and expressing yourself.
Yes.
So we're looking back on the year for Andrea to get an idea of where you are, where you have been, and what that means for the future. So why don't you just start us off with the present day?
Okay.
And what is a typical day like for you in the life of AV?
AV. Typically, I wake up when I wake up. I'm learning that I'm about easily 5 to 10 times happier without an alarm clock. And I just feel so much better the whole rest of the day. So normally, everyone judges me for this too. That tends to be between 9 and noon because we go to bed late. Somewhere in there, so I wake up, I eat breakfast. I get ready, like try to look like a human. Then I eat breakfast. Then I do about 30 to 45 minutes of like stretching and mobility at home. Then I go to the gym, which this also I get judged for, is somewhere between 3 and 5 hours depending on the day. And then I come home. Brandon and I eat lunch together while watching something, which has been Friends for like a couple months now.
Friends.
Yeah, like we're on episode 3, and it's been about 3 or 4 months. Not episode 3, sorry. Season 3, episode 20 something. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. We just started that a few months. So, anyways, it's just a good time. It's like a 20-minute happy break while you eat together, and then you continue with your day. So, anyways, then Friends happens and food. And then if I have like errands or something, it happens usually there. It's like mid-afternoon, early evening at this point. And work for me starts between like 5 and 7 p.m. most days. Okay. And it lasts usually till somewhere between 11 and 1 a.m. And then we get ready for bed. That's like the broad outline. Nice. Yeah.
So how could you possibly get anything done waking up so late?
I know.
Is the question people think.
Yeah, they're like, oh, God, you're lazy. And I'm like, okay, well, at 2 a.m. I'm still going sometimes, so whatever.
No. If you don't wake up at 6 to 8 a.m., you can't get any work done. It's impossible to have 16 hours a day and 8 hours of sleep at a different time than other people. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know. And especially because of, like, I'm around a lot of CrossFitters, and they're like, they all teach at like 5:30, so I wake up at 4. I'm such an asshole. I'm a lazy asshole. No. But yeah, that's the general day, most days.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool. So if anyone's been living under a rock, can you explain to them why your workouts last as long as most people's, sleep schedules?
Yeah. So I'm training for, I'm training for grid, which means I'm training to have a prayer in the world of making it into the professional grid league. I'm allowing myself a solid 5 years for that to happen. I'm not joking. I literally decided that till I'm 35, this is 100% like what I'm devoted to. I guess to give perspective, I think I've talked about what grid is. Do I need to?
I think
a light
you're
touch.
Probably good.
Okay, so it's like this. I have to be really good at lifting a lot of weights really fast for this team barbell gymnastics sport, right? But again, for perspective, it's like there's 8 professional teams of like 20 to 30 people, and I'm super not one of them. I just started a year ago, 6 months with a shoulder injury or more. So anyways, I'm learning Olympic lifting from scratch this past year, which is going pretty well. But I have to not only be good at it and then strong at it, and then I have to like rep it out. Barbell cycling, if you will. Y'all can Google that if you want to look at it. But so just, yeah, the goals are big, so the investment is big, I guess is the way that I can put it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I mean, I guess from my perspective, if you have to do more than just simply get stronger, then you have to learn a skill, and you have to have strength endurance, and then you also have to develop other skills like gymnastics and other stuff that's all involved. So it would naturally take more time, both on a day-to-day basis and in terms of actually planning your goals. And I think most people don't set 5-year goals for fitness, and I think that's pretty cool. It's a good way to think, in my opinion, thinking that kind of big picture, long term.
Thanks. Yeah, and there's after the whole mobility stretching thing, which just makes me feel good. It makes me feel ready for the day. It's as you guys can imagine, if you're like a bodybuilder, or especially if you're a powerlifter, right? How long it takes you to get through like your big compound of the day, maybe one. I typically start with Olympic lifting, then I have strength stuff, then I have skill-based work, and then I have cardio most days, like in that order, and sometimes in 2 workouts. So that's why it kind of takes so long. It's not like I'm like moving for 5 hours straight. It's just like the first 2 things might take the first 2 or 3 hours, and then later on in the evening I might have like a 10 to 40 minute cardio piece or muscular endurance piece or whatever. So
okay.
Yeah.
So now that you are not just training for being jacked, do you find that your nutrition or your, I don't know, mental state or your recovery, all the things you have to do to support those training goals is different or more intense?
Everything is different. I mean, the obvious things I thought was that training would be different. The amount of recovery I need is different. I've never slept this much in my life. Mm-hmm. I've never paid more attention to rest days. Yeah, like usually if I'm going to do anything with Brandon, right, it's Wednesday nights or Saturday nights, because the days I don't train are Thursdays and Sundays, and I literally do my absolute best to do nothing. And it makes a difference. I'm embarrassed about it, but it totally makes a difference. Like Thursdays is the only weekday where I'm not training, so that's when I try to go like the dentist and the doctor and the whatever, the chiropractor, all that stuff. But I don't do anything like physically difficult, but on Sundays I really try not to. It's a lot more aches and pains. What else is different? I'm trying to think just like bodily wise. I just have to pay a lot more attention to how I'm feeling. I never had to worry about that with bodybuilding, powerlifting. I know a lot of people do. I really honestly never had to. And now I really do. I'm also 31 now. I'm almost as old as you, so.
I'm 23. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, so that's been the biggest thing, is managing my fatigue on a whole nother level. Like on a much more acute level, not just like deloads, but like you have to sleep tonight because you have to train tomorrow kind of thing. And it needs to be like 10 hours. So that's been the big physical thing. I'm learning skills, which hasn't happened in a long time, right? Once you know how to squat, like you know how to squat. But as you know, more than anybody, Olympic lifting is very mental, very tedious, very
frustrating for me.
Yes, it can be frustrating. Honestly, I've had to spend a lot of time learning on my own. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, once you can squat for the most part, right? Like, I've never watched so many workout videos. And by workout videos, it's like just people doing like bazillions of snatches. I can spend, if I'm not like watching myself, I'll spend like an hour or 2 on Hook Grip's Instagram just watching slow motion snatches and clean and jerks. It helps. It helps a lot. Because we did a lot of that when I was a kid in gymnastics, like purposeful imagery and stuff. And it's really, because I basically teach myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's been different too. Go ahead.
Are you pretty good with imagery? Are you able to actually visualize yourself doing things? Do you use first person or third person when you do imagery?
Typically third person. I think because of my gymnastics coaching, I had to explain big skills to little kids or adolescents. So I watching it. And then another thing that's always been, I've just noticed in my life, is I'll watch it. Sometimes you can feel things, but picking up on a lot of people's cues. So like if you listen to 10 or 15 good coaches teach a snatch, they all say different things, and not all of it helps me, and some of it does. You know, like you gotta try 10 things on and like one works. A big one was when you told me on my shitty hang snatch pulls was to hit myself in the face. That actually helps a lot. That was a cue I hadn't heard yet, and it's helped me. So just things like that. I don't know.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that was helpful.
It was, yeah. But it's been a lot of learning like that. I think that's it.
Spending a lot of time with imagery, watching people do it, basically trying to instruct yourself passively when you're not doing it actively. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I think that's probably something a lot of bodybuilders probably don't think about very much as the skill component to what other lifting goals require. So that I always find that just a different perspective, and helps, I think, bodybuilders who probably are watching understand that how much more of a skill component there is to Olympic lifting and to a lesser degree powerlifting.
Yeah, and luckily I don't have luckily I had the ability to get in those positions pretty much from day one. But I've seen a lot of people really struggle with it. Oh yeah, Helms, you were one of them. But so that's been interesting. What else? Nutritionally, I eat a lot, and I just learned how to notice when I'm hungry again for the first time in half a decade this year.
Wow.
Yeah, that was when 2-a-days started. Was when I was like, oh, when I count my same macros, but I have 8 workouts in this week, I'm starving all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like shit and can't get through the workout. So eating by feel, I had no desire to learn that on my own as a physique athlete. I was totally fine counting all the time. It was easy enough. Didn't bother me any. I liked knowing that as data. But, yeah, I always have snacks in my bag, and I was just noticing that, like, on 2-a-days, I was eating all the snacks every day. I was like, maybe I should just be eating more. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's how that went
So
out.
speaking of things you learn now versus being a physique athlete, is being a physique athlete is getting on a bodybuilding stage pretty much off the table for the next 5 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's pretty easy answer.
Yeah. Only because I know it's always going to be there, like I've said, but I just finally in the last year is like it's not binary. I've switched from bodybuilding to grid. It's like I'm doing grid right now, and when it's over and my body says F you, no more, then I'll just diet.
Yeah.
That's never. This is gonna sound so like elitist and like, oh, I'm past it, but like. Bodybuilding, especially the first starvation season that we all did, was like the hardest thing I've ever done, right? And now in a different way, this seems this seems really hard. And whereas dieting for shows by my second season, I'm like, oh, that's the easy part. It took a lot longer for me to off season settle than in season, because I don't dimmer, as you know. When it's time for season, it's like, and we eat that big, delicious last meal, and then you're not doing that again. And you're just not.
Right.
So, yeah, and I can totally be on a master stage all jacked with gray hair and shit. It's okay. I can do that. It doesn't scare me.
There's really no time limit. Or at least, there may be a time limit on bodybuilding, but it seems like it happens so much later than power and strength dominant sports. Probably more so speed and conditioning related sports for the most part. Yeah. So I think that makes sense. It
just makes sense that I can like leg press way longer in life than I'll be able to snatch. That's just the way it is. So yeah, it doesn't, whether it's 5 years, 15 years, whatever, I don't feel like I'd ever never do it, because at some point, as much as I love doing other things, at some point, I think there'll be nothing other than bodybuilding to do.
You've destroyed so many joints that all you can do, like occluded isometric contractions. That'll be great.
Yeah. And I guess one thing too is I talked about with Andy on his podcast, but my body this is the most progress I've made as a bodybuilder this past year, and not trying to do that because I just think I had a lot more in my tank every day for like 4 years.
How much of that do you think is nutrition wise as well?
I think a lot of it, to be honest. Yeah, I don't say, again, it wasn't like I was scared to eat for fear of getting fat. It was, I shouldn't be getting further from stage weight as a responsible physique athlete. And then I ate more, and like I didn't really get that much further from stage weight. Actually, now I think the first 2 or 3 months that I did grid, so like November through January of last year, I was actually weighing like above 150. I was like 149 to like 152-ish because I just couldn't stop eating. But now I'm back down to like consistent 140. It's like my body is like, okay, now that we're doing this. So I'm like 145 most of the time. But I was eating like 2,600 calories a day for like a few months there, just trying to deal with everything that was going on. And I actually didn't care because I was having a blast.
Nice.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're kind of shifting around and finding what a normal amount of food is for you with your current lifestyle, and then using hunger to guide that. It's a good place to be.
Yeah, it feels good. I should say too, like when I said that was 25 or 2,600. Now I think if I'm on a normal training day, somewhere between 1,900 and 2,100 calories, and then once or twice a week, I'm currently obsessed with margaritas and fajitas. So like we have Whataburger Wednesday. I'm obsessed with double cheeseburgers on Wednesdays after my second training session. And then on Saturdays, I just want a giant margarita and a lot of animal meat and fajitas. You know, I don't know. It's just, yeah.
Fajitas, they're good.
I do love fajitas. But I won't see, and I'm like, I'm still anal though. Like I'll only do that because the next day is an off day. Like I won't eat like an asshole on Sunday, even though it's my off day, because I know that Monday I have to train and I want to feel good when I wake up.
Okay, so if you overeat the day prior to working out, then you're a little more sluggish, or?
A little bit, but not just overeat, like eat dumb shit. Yeah, I like waking up feeling a little light. Like I like waking up tighter if it's a training day. I don't like waking up watery.
Okay.
I'm not sure why. It's just something, I don't know. I just kind of noticed that. Especially, I guess, if I have a margarita, too, then I'm, like bloated, like my hands are swollen. Does that happen to you? When you have, like, a big girl drink? Because I know you like the girl drinks.
It's hard to tell whether it's the margarita or the fact that you probably had Mexican with it, you know? Yeah. So.
Damn. Fajitas are so good.
They are.
Yeah, I guess that's another thing, too. The last, like, year I've eaten a lot. I'm, like, real big on beef now. I didn't eat that shit for, like, 5 years. But I have a much higher fat diet than I used to as a physique. Not even like as a physique, but like when I was counting, I monitored fat, and now that I don't, I can eat the same calories and feel way better. But you could probably speak to why that is more than I could. But
so is that choice of not eating beef for 5 years, is that just because it didn't fit your targets very well, or was that personal preference?
I've always liked beef. I think it was I didn't want to waste my fats on it for so many years, right?
Got it.
And then I went through this weird period where after my last season, when I would eat fatty things, it tasted disgusting. Like real ranch, I was like, oh, this is like so heavy. It tastes like gravy. Like it felt so thick to me. Now I'm like, that Walden Farm, what was I thinking? Because I carried that shit everywhere. Anyone who knows me, even in off season, I would take Walden Farms everywhere because I thought real stuff was like too thick and gross. If I have, even now, honestly, when I say I want steak, it's usually like a sirloin or a fajita. If I have like marbled any type of meat, I still get kind of grossed out.
Okay.
But it was like now I don't get real grossed out by beef. But there was a while there when I would eat fatty foods that I just felt gross.
Okay.
I don't know.
So it changed your palate a little bit. I don't think that's
so.
too uncommon. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's it nutritionally. I just eat a lot more.
So you've got a lot going on as an athlete, which I know is the way you like it.
Yes.
Has that crept into your experience as a coach? Has that helped you being on the other side of it? Or is it, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things that have influenced your...
Yeah, this is my first year coaching. Yeah, with you guys. It's
That's
been
right.
just over a year.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, hey, thanks. I think it feels more familiar to me as an athlete to be training like this because of my upbringing in gymnastics. But I coach people very differently than I deal with myself. Yeah. Just most people don't need what I need we're motivated by different things. I don't know. I think I'm just really starting to understand in the last 2 or 3 years of my life that I'm the abnormal one and I can't treat people like me.
I would say that's probably the key to being a good coach, is not just only using your personal experience. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. I like this podcast. You just keep complimenting me.
You are great, and you have nice hair, and you are strong, and you are smart.
Okay, see you next week. No, yeah, so coaching wise, I think what I've learned over a year and a half of coaching is I thought that I was the way most bodybuilders are coming into coaching with 3D, and now that I've worked with a lot of people, I realize that I'm, even in the realm of like physique athletes, I'm a little bit different. I need different things. I don't fall in the bell curve really well for even physique athletes when I was doing that. So that's an observance. I don't know if that's really like that's a huge observance. So and this podcast has helped a lot to hear how you guys deal with people. And my athletes have helped me a lot. Because I've had a lot of them for almost that whole time.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Ask me something else. Did I answer that? I don't even remember what the question was.
Then who knows?
Who knows? But, then it was a perfect answer.
but yeah, talking about coaching, I mean, so it's been a full year of working with 3DMJ.
Yes.
What do you think is probably the most valuable experiences or lessons that you've taken from that?
Well, although I've coached since I was 16, this is my first long-term stint working with full-fledged adults, right? Because it was usually, the
doing
gymnasts,
online bodybuilding cultures with adults, right?
Yeah. And I've learned that the more I try to work with them instead of like be the dictator, I get more out of them. It's pretty powerful, I found, and really helpful that every time I hit a wall to let the reins go and be like, okay, we've tried ABC. My next step, guess, would be like D or E. But since we've had these, X problem, what do you think we should do? And that tends to, again, give me better feedback from them because they'll tell me why they think that's the better thing. And then if they help me there, it also, they have more buy-in to it, I guess, because like they helped make the decision. So I've just, when I'm coaching like a bunch of 10 to 18-year-olds, like I got to tell them what to do, Right. But if it's, someone who's 2 decades older than me, I'm like, well, what do you think? Because, so I think that's been pretty cool. That makes coaching a lot easier. Not that I need it to be like easier, but it gets us both where we want to go quicker, I feel like. Just remembering that these are adults and they like understand, right? If they came to us, they obviously, hopefully would like to think are decently well researched enough. They kind of watch our videos or listen to our podcast. They kind of know about us, that it's refreshing that we've developed such a reputation that the people that come to us trust us, and we don't really have to like try to get them to buy into what we're saying. Like they're pretty easygoing in that realm. We don't have to prove that we know our things. Like they're pretty aware that we're not idiots. So that's a good thing. Coaching things I've learned. I don't know. I've learned that they can I also, I guess in programming too, trying to give them something that they'll enjoy also helps. I'm trying to take someone from, if they did their programs at like here, I'm pointing to one side of the screen, and like I want them to be way over here on the other side of the screen. Not trying to take them like, oh, you did this kind of program, I'm gonna take you way over here. It's like, we'll just take them a little bit more and a little bit more. Right. And then along the way, obviously asking them what they enjoy doing. Like there's something, like we talked about those abs. If they want to do abs and it's not going to ruin their life, then let them do abs, that kind of thing.
Right.
If they're not in season and they want to run, I'm like, all right, you have 2 days a week, half an hour, however you want to do it. Like just stuff like that just makes them happier people. And like you, I don't have a huge roster. So making them my homies is really good. Like, it's way, I trust them. That's it. That's easier too. I trust them to tell me what I need to know. There's nothing tactical really though that I mean, you guys all talked about in your episodes, like the longer diet break. Like y'all all talked about things like I started doing this year, but you have like all these other years to reference, and I'm like, all this is new to me. So I think it's just.
Well, yeah, some of those things I think are easier. Like the stuff you talked about of being more collaborative with your athletes and ways to get them buy-in to have, athlete-centered coaching. I think that stuff is much more important than some of those tactical decisions, which, might improve your outcomes a little bit, but at the same time, they're not as much about relationship building, which I think is the cornerstone. So, yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
So you got a small roster.
Yes.
That means you're probably doing other things, right?
Yes, I do other things.
Okay. So you don't just sleep, lift weights, eat, and then coach a couple people?
No, I do a few other things.
Okay. So then with that established, what are your goals like outside of coaching then as a fitness professional? Hashtag quotes.
Hashtag fitness professional. I want to help 3DMJ. What I want to help us do. Be as big of a deal on the internet as we are in our wisdom. I guess I want...
Be as big of a deal to everyone else as we are in our...
No. Be as big of a deal in the way that we operate as a business, because I know that our brains and our voices and our followers and our whatever are like top level. And as you know, because you're in it with me, I just want us to have like the best website. I want us to have the best pictures. I want us to have the best. So that's like a really long ongoing project, right? It started with posing clinics before I was a coach. Then it went to what was the first thing? Helping us move over to the new website, which wasn't really me, it was someone else's website, but helping us kind of move there, getting us an Instagram, then getting us a consistent Twitter feed, I think the audience understands all that, right? Like just helping us get our message out there in as a big a way as I know it should be out there. So that's a really big passion of mine and a goal of mine. I think as we're talking right now, our new website will have just launched, and that's been like 3 or 4 months in the making. Yeah, and the podcast was a big deal for us. So yeah, all the secret things that get us out there is for whatever reason, a really big deal for me. For us.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you as someone who is, in it, and your colleague, that you've leveled us up much faster than when we were playing the game on our own, which is very cool. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. I always feel lightweight guilty though, not lightweight guilty because I know I train a lot. Like I'm trying to build an empire in like 4 hours a day, and it's kind of hard. And I know it'd be built way quicker if it had like 8 or 12 hours a day. But I know that I go crazy if I don't, if I'm not moving forward athletically. So I have to be at peace with that. But
so you got to stay happy. That's. I don't think you'd be better if you trained less. I think you'd be worse.
Yeah, like worse at everything. Like I'm not proud of it, but I can't. I mean, it's stupid when I try to fight it that if I'm having a bad week in training, everything in my life is worse. And if I'm having a great week in training, everything in my life is better. I'm very emotionally attached to my athletic progress. And I always have been. I mean, like, since I was 6, y'all. And so anytime I've tried to fight it or hide it and be like, okay, I really need to focus on my business for all, I realize that I'm just like, meh. Like, everything in life is kind of bleh. But if all the boxes are checked there and I'm healthy, then I'm way better at everything. So yeah, that's the big professional goal. I guess the long-term project, right, is just step by step trying to make our team, just like you said, leveling us up as much as I can over and over, month after month, year after year, whatever. And then the second edition of the pyramids. We're
going to do that?
I think we're going to do that this year.
Oh,
no?
I didn't know about that.
He's lying. He's lying, y'all.
I'm definitely kidding. Yeah.
So that's exciting too. And when we say like tactically coaching, whatever, I think that was a really good precursor to me coaching, right? Because I learned what I learned enough to get myself where I needed to be as an athlete in like 2011 or whatever. I hired Berto, and I didn't really ever seek updates in my education as a physique athlete or as a coach, because I wasn't planning on coaching. And it was really good that like the 6 months leading up to me being a 3D coach, we wrote those pyramids. Or I guess it was like a year. I don't know, 6 months leading up to it. So it's like tactically, aside from the emotional shit I talked about, that's the basis of my coaching, and it still is. And I think it's
you got immersed in theory, and then you actually spent time working with each of us, and you went and lived with Berto for a while. Mm-hmm. Got immersed in the day-to-day of coaching. So I think you upskilled really fast, and of course with your background it's no surprise that it was easy for you to do. So
yeah, and it's also, I think I find a lot of comfort in like there's a billion ways to get unless you're like Jeff or like Bryce is a powerlifter, there's a lot of things you can do to get better, and I find comfort in that. Like with my athletes, I'm not going to find the best way. I should have to find a way that they keep getting better over time. Right. And then other than that, it's like like you said, the coaching, leveling up, like the emotional, the connection, the getting the best out of them. But yeah, they can keep progressing in a because I do, right? I'm not an elite athlete by any means. And Olympic lifting makes my squat better, and handstands make my overhead press better, like all that kind of shit. So I try to not even try to. I just inherently I find that really comforting. That I can't really, quote unquote, like mess people up as long as it's logical, it makes sense, it follows principles, then I'm cool. And
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Dope. So you do a lot of training.
Yes.
You do some coaching,
yes.
And you're doing a whole lot of development of 3DMJ, kind of, I guess what you'd say is like strategic planning and expansion into areas where we might have been lacking. But do you do anything else in your life?
Yes. I forgot one more big business thing is I'm relaunching my personal website, which if I talk about it here, that means it has to be done, but there's like 5 or 6 articles there. It's redone. It's in hidings, but I want to launch the 3D one before mine, but that'll be out too. Has nothing to do with bodybuilding, which makes me happy because all my bodybuilding stuff gets to go 3D, and it's just a place for me to have thoughts come out. I like writing. So I've been writing a lot lately, and that's just on a personal level. It has nothing to do with like selling things or making money. It's just, it's important to me. That also makes me happy. Also, I live with Brandon Wells, who I think a lot of y'all know, my boyfriend. He's a photographer. We hang out. I don't know. That's really all, that's it.
That's all you do with your life. What do you write?
What do I write? Oh,
yeah.
I write about grid. I write about, it's actually pretty dark, the stuff that I have written. It's kind of not naggy, but like, I just, like I said, I'm very different than it's just a place I can be someone different. Like I'm a little bit of an asshole, things that bother me, just working through it, the things that I think should be better. Actually, the last long ass post I wrote was like how I've become a better bodybuilder because of grid. The one before that was being a good example. In a very, it's a lot wordier than that, but basically like being a good example.
You started saying it in a shitty way.
I did it in a shitty way, I guess. But
so like hating on people who are bad examples.
Yeah, I feel like I hate on people. I don't like it, but
just reclining in your recliner.
Yeah, no, Ryan Doris, like 2 years ago, we had this talk, because me, him, and Abdullah were on like a rant fest. Abdullah, how do you say his last name? Zainab? Anyways.
Zainab.
Yeah, okay, that. Our Aussie friend. and I was like, God, I feel like I'm just talking shit. And he was like, no, he was really, it's not bad. If you say what you hate, then it helps you realize like who you don't want to be. And I was like, that's comforting. Right? Like if I can get out the things that bother me, it's because, and why that is. And it just reminds me not to be that asshole that I would talk about. So that's good. The one before that it was my birthday, and I wrote like all these 10 questions about like where do I want to be in the next year before I'm 40, blah blah. So that's just like written out on the blog, just things to get out. It's for me.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Brandon he takes pictures. I like when we take pictures together. He has projects. We have projects. I think
Very
that's
cool.
fun. We like creating things. He's a creator. We make videos and pictures and stuff.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I've seen you guys. You have like 3 Instagram accounts. So
I do have 3 Instagram accounts.
I follow them all. They all have very different things on them. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Making things is fun to me. I still consider myself like a creator. I don't know.
That's cool. It sounds like you have your hands on a lot of things.
Yeah, and if I cut any of them off, I don't feel good about it. I try to focus and I'm not good at it.
Yeah, you shouldn't cut off your hands.
I hear that's bad. Yeah, I don't know. That's something else I guess I've learned too in the last years, or just more and more as I get older, that I know focus works for a lot of people, but if I don't do something that's really important to me, I feel way worse. Like I have to be semi-diluted. I can't do the same thing 8 hours a day, not even 4 hours a day. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right.
What do you spend most of your energy on right now? What are you
physically
addicted to, or anything, whatever?
Training. That's it. Just being a better athlete, and whether that's like I said, my morning mobility, my audiobook choices. I'm obsessed with audiobooks, so they're almost never towards business or towards coaching. Well, I guess indirectly, but they're really like how to make me, not like motivational stuff, but like tactical, how to get better, or like athlete biographies or coach memoirs, or how the brain works. Like and with 100% with the intention of like, how do I become a better athlete?
You sound like you're addicted to progress almost across the board.
Yeah, I try.
It's a healthy addiction. It's a good one.
Yeah, I also obsess easily on things. Yeah, I don't doubt. When I say like I'm dispersed, but I love the shit out of all of it. Like I don't, I can't like tiptoe very well.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So you've got a lot going on, and you've done a lot in the last year. Out of all of it, what are you most proud of?
My progress in grid.
Nice.
Not because, not because of like the weights lifter, because I feel like my coach is in New York. Like I think teaching myself Olympic lifting was, the more I look around at people who have been in it like in the 1 to 5 year range, I realize my progress was really fast, and I did it by myself. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of me not completely caving because of my shoulder injury, which took up 6 to 8 months of that progress. That was the hardest thing I've had to deal with this year, is wanting something so bad and having something like that get in the way for so long. I'm proud of what else am I proud of? I don't know. I lived somewhere this year. I haven't lived somewhere in like 3 years. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding, those listeners.
So what does that mean?
Like I have an apartment with a boyfriend. I have a bed. We have like stuff. No, like all of 2015 or 2014, we traveled and stayed at family or friends' houses for like a fucking year straight. 2015, I thought we were going to keep traveling and like really settle in somewhere, but Brandon wanted to compete in Sacramento. And so we went and lived with Matt Ogus for that whole season. And so like we literally didn't live anywhere for like, maybe it was like 2 years, but we do now. And so that's cool. Didn't realize how important that was. But it is.
Welcome to being a normal adult.
Thanks. Feels good. I quit adulting for like 2 years there.
You transiented for a while.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I'm proud that I'm not embarrassed to call myself a 3D coach anymore because that was terrifying for a long time.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thanks. Or not embarrassed, but I was like, I mean, I'm kind of there, but no, I feel like I belong. So that was a hard hurdle to get over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I learned how to hire people and work with, I have Steve and Rizzo, who, I mean, we all work with Steve, but so Steve runs our podcast production stuff. Rizzo helps all of my businesses with everything in the world.
Shout out to ST and AR.
Yeah, they're the best. That's been, I feel like I can grow now. Like I thought for a long time I could do everything by myself, and I realized that I can't because I can't. So I'm learning to work well with others. I don't know, but I think we lucked out too. Those are really great people, and I fought hard to keep them close because
we definitely lucked out. They're pretty amazing, and the power of people can never be underestimated.
Damn right. Yeah, so that's been a big game changer in my life. I feel like a lot more things are possible with such good people, and with you. I mean, with the coaches too. Like,
you've gotten very good at delegating, I've found.
Thanks. That was hard because I always feel like I can do it better than everybody else.
Yeah, it's good to realize people's strengths and then have them reinforce it when you delegate something to them. They do it well, and then to help them help you to help the team. I think that's kind of the key to leadership, and you've done very well with that.
Thanks. What else can we get complimented on today? What else am I obsessed with?
Hair, right?
Yeah. My peach hair. I think it's peach.
Yeah, it's
or is it pink? I feel like it's peach because there's blonde. You just can't see.
It's like platinum pink.
Okay.
Is that a thing?
We'll go with that. Yeah, that's good. Did we do the obsessed with question? Did we pass that?
No, we did it. Yeah,
we did it. There's way more things. Can I tell you? Friends.
Yeah, tell me
okay,
what other things you're addicted to.
Yeah, Friends, audiobooks, training, obviously. What foods am I? I'm addicted to like ham and cheese and crackers right now. That's my like favorite lunch in the world.
So Lunchables.
Yeah, fajitas. We talked about that.
Yeah. So far, you've only added Lunchables. Everything else you've already said.
Really? Did I already talk about that? Hold on. There's more.
Yeah, we went through fajitas. We went through training. We went through Friends. We went through yeah.
I guess we did go through
margaritas.
Damn, I'm basic. My Romaleos. You should totally get some. I went on that forever. I was fighting it. I was like, no, these Adidas are better, but it's not true. You should change. You have the old school Adidas?
I don't have Adidas. I used to lift in Way Ruiz, and now I lift in VS athletics trainers.
Oh.
I don't like to spend $300 on shoes that...
They're not $300.
$200.
Less.
$180.
Which is way less than $300. That was like almost half of what you said.
Okay, do you know what's way less than $180?
Tell me. 40?
75.
Oh, okay.
And it has the same heel. And I've lifted in Romaleos. I've tried them. I don't think they're that much better. Maybe for Olympic lifting, regular Olympic lifting. But I do pretty much, I stand and then I sit
that's
down
a good point. It was a snatch thing.
Yep.
Okay. That's what never mind.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's all my addictions. That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Never mind. I thought I was way more interesting than that, but I guess I'm not.
I think you have a pretty decently diversified portfolio. You've got, not only do you have fajitas, you have margaritas. Not only that, you have Lunchables.
Adult Lunchables. It's the deli ham. I actually get it from the deli. I order from the deli like an adult now, too.
It's okay if it's a Lunchable. You don't have to, get a lot.
Peppercorn turkey from the deli also is my jam. Deli
okay.
meats. Unless someone else is making it, then it's fajitas. But at home, I don't cook.
Nice.
I don't cook.
Gotta love it.
Jimmy Dean breakfast bowls. That's another new one. Have you had those? Do they have those there?
No.
Egg whites, turkey, sausage, and cheese. Super good if you haven't. All right, I guess I'm done.
So I like how you went back to a question to add 2 food items to it.
I'm trying to think of what else.
Awesome. Well, you've got a lot going on from Lunchables to Jimmy Dean's to fajitas and margaritas. What do you
and audiobooks.
Audiobooks, right? Because you didn't already say that before.
No, I'm saying like that's a pretty good spectrum there. Audiobooks, margaritas, and Lunchables.
Right. Got it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And snatches.
I do fucking love snatching. Yo, it's so fun. But I'm not going to tell everyone to do it because they're going to get hurt. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Unless you're guided.
Yeah. Olympic lifting takes coaching in person for a while before you don't suck.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I still suck. But anyway,
okay, sorry.
So you got a lot going on this year.
Yes.
What do you see the next year holding for you?
All those businessy things we talked about, right? So I want to write more. Second edition of the Pyramids, 3DMJ's website, growing. Our blog content is dope now, you guys. If you haven't checked it out, we actually have stuff there, and it's a lot of stuff, and it's going to keep coming.
Yeah, thanks.
Lots of good things there. I want to move. I know I said that, but no, we want to stay in Austin, but I think we're going to get a bigger apartment, so that's exciting. I know that's personal, but it's still like I'm really excited about that. I don't know when. It's either February or 6 months after that. We'll decide.
So leveling up your domicile?
Yeah, pretty much, because my office is the guest room, and we love having people, but every time people are over here, they stay in this room, so I have to move out, and then move back in, and move out, and it just doesn't, so that's pretty much it. This year, I really don't think it's going to happen this year, but like the next year, I think I'm going to at least try out for an amateur league and grid, but my shoulder just got better, and I talked to my coach, and I don't think we're going to do anything this year. I don't think I'm going to compete in anything, but...
You have to do it pretty fast this year. Or you mean 2017? Are we pretending this is coming out?
No. Yeah, we're in 2017, and I don't think I'm going to be good enough to try out this year. So I look forward to just getting better.
Because as recorded, it's technically the 19th of December, not the...
Oh, well, okay.
All right.
I'm not...
You confused me. Are you going to try out the next 2 weeks for a grid team?
No. This coming... I guess because I'm thinking like grid season happened like 3 months ago. And it'll start like recruiting and all that stuff in April, and I'm definitely not where I need to be yet for that. So hopefully maybe I'll get to I really still am like, I don't know if it'll be this year, but I'd like to go train with my coach for like a week, but I want to wait till it's worth it. So I got to be better for even that. That'd be fun. I've only met him in person once, although we text or whatever. And I think I want to go on a vacation for the first time that's not work related this year. I know I said that last year, but Brandon and I have been talking about it. I've never done it. I've been all over the world, always for work.
You need the U time.
Yeah. But I just really, this is going to sound so cheesy, but I just really love sleeping and training here and moving forward. I can travel. I just really like my life. The day-to-day stuff that most people would think is boring. If you follow my Snapchat, it's literally like I wake up and I say, hey, what's up? And then we go train, and that's like for 5 hours you see all these little snaps. And then I disappear because I'm working, or you'll see me snap my friends during our meetings. And then I say goodnight. It makes me happy.
You're doing what makes you happy. I mean, most people take vacations frequently because they need to get away from what they're doing, or because they have the money and the time to do it and they like it. That's fine as well. But you are living the dream. Nothing wrong with that. My
dream. Most people don't like it. Training for that long, but
fortunately, only you have to live your life.
This is good news. Yeah. That's good news.
Good stuff.
I don't know. Oh, we're going to Australia. That's the other thing I'm looking forward to.
There we go. I didn't want to lead you too much, but yeah, we're going to Melbourne.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to see you guys. Yeah, I like when we have team trips.
Yeah, we might end up coming out your way to do some of the work on the second pyramid and potentially other digital products.
Damn it, now we need to move fast, though. Maybe we do need to move sooner. But, man, y'all are going to love it here. There's so many fajitas and tacos and margaritas and music and art, but more importantly,
fajitas
and tacos.
And
Lots of
margaritas.
tacos and margaritas. Yeah.
I'm excited already.
What would you? Oh, fish tacos. There you go.
I crush those tacos of the pescado.
El pescado tacos. Yes. Yes. That's all I can think of that I'm excited for this year. That's a lot, but that's all I can think of.
Hey, it's a good list. Some big things. Well, shit. I guess we can.
Is that everything?
That's it. We covered the year, and we covered the coming year.
Okay. I don't feel like I was very wise this time.
Well, I think people realize that you're only wise when you ask the questions. When you answer them, you get exposed. So
there's a cat behind you.
There is a cat behind me, and I had to do one main thing that I would say after being nice to you for the whole thing. So
we'll leave it here. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for the year ahead, and I'm excited to be your guest, Helms.
Hey, I'm excited to be your host.
All right. I'll talk to you next week. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.